Hello, this is the demo for the part labeling tool that we'll be using for the Pascal dataset to label both semantic parts and symmetry axes. So here I have preloaded a set of directories for the input, output, and our pre-existing part labels. But we can change these simply by clicking on the text and editing them directly, or if we would like to search for them in an user interface, we can go ahead and click the ellipses. Now the Pascal datasets have images in forms of a JPEG, so I'll go ahead and select the file extension of JPEG. And the part labels that we have are in forms of a PNG. Once this is set up, we can go ahead and press Start Annotations, and we can go ahead and start the labeling process. Now I've previously done several images beforehand just to test this out. And so there is an existing set of annotations. For the purpose of the demo, let's start off on a clean slate. So this labeling tool supports two views. The left one here is the image view, or the original image that we'll be labeling on. The right side here is the annotation results, which will contain the masks and the binary images of our labeling. Now, if we would like to utilize the pre-existing parts, we can go ahead and check mark the pre-existing part labels, and this will load a set of pre-labeled parts that we have done previously for the Pascal dataset. We can also propose a set of symmetry axes simply by checking the Propose Symmetry Axes option, and this will give us a set of symmetry axes for the labels that we have on hand. Now, for the purpose of this demo, let's start off on a clean slate. Now here's an image that I'd like to label for both parts and symmetry axes. So for the annotation type, I'll start off on semantic part. Now I'll be working on the left side here, so I will select the left axis for annotation. I'll begin by annotating the head, so I'll select the head option. And we can either use the polylines or freehand tool to label the image. For label annotation options here, we can either add to a label or subtract from a label. So we'll start off by adding to the head label here with the freehand tool. For those who don't have steady hands, I would suggest using the polyline tool simply because it's a lot more precise. Let's go ahead and try the polyline tool for the neck portion. Here we select a set of points and generate a polygon, and there is our neck and head labels. Now suppose that I missed part of the mane here and I like to extend my labeling. I can go ahead and select one of these labeling tools and mark this additional portion of the mane. And this will add to our label. Let's go ahead and do this for the remainder of the parts, such as the torso, right limbs, and left limbs, and the tail. Please excuse my crude labeling. This will be the right limb. Want the left limb. To speed up the process a little bit, I will use the freehand tool. Now suppose I mess up on my labeling, and my tail is a little bit, just tad bit too big. I can go ahead and select the subtract from label tool, which will let me remove from the mask. And now that it will be much easier to remove on the right, so I will go ahead and remove some portions here from the right side. Now I can also do the same for the left. All I need to do is select the left side, and I will remove this portion from the left side. Perhaps it's a little bit easier on the right side. There we go. Now I can actually go ahead and label the symmetry axes for these parts by selecting the symmetry axis label type. And I'll go ahead and draw in the symmetry axes for each corresponding part. Now suppose I completely messed up very badly and I have this very bad label here. I can go ahead and press the undo button, and this will undo my previous mistakes. In fact, I can undo many more and continue to do so until we have an empty image. Now, let me go ahead and relabel these parts. Once I'm done labeling these parts, I'll go ahead and save my annotations. Now if I want to move to the next image, all I need to do is press next. It'll automatically prompt me to save my annotations, so let's press yes. There exists a set of annotations already. We can go ahead and press yes to load these annotations. And there were my previous annotations that I made on this horse. If we want to redo these annotations, we can click on the reset button, and this will clear all of our annotations. Now suppose I just want to use the proposed symmetry axes and label the symmetry axes. I can use these two options and select the ones that I want. So for example, the head here, I would like to remove this symmetry axis there. And I'd like to remove this symmetry axis in the torso. But note that I have selected the head and try removing the torso, so that wouldn't delete anything. Now I select the torso and retry, and this will remove the symmetry axis from there. Now I'll go ahead and draw in a better one. Whenever I draw a symmetry axis, you'll notice that there will be a yellow line that shows up on the left side. If we decide to label the semantic part, for example, here is a poorly labeled torso that spills into the neck. I can select the neck and re-annotate it for a better set of labeling. If we decide that we would like to go back and revisit our previous annotations, we can click on the previous button. And of course, this will ask us to load the set of annotations. Now, because both of these check marks are on, we have overlaid them with some pre-existing set of annotations that were saved in the parse label directory. We can untoggle them, and we get back our old annotations. And this is our labeling tool. Thank you for your time.